Alright guys, welcome to the channel. Right, today we've got a dual core RTA, but you can also use it in single core mode if you should so wish. And it's from QP Designs. It's called the Fatality M25. And here it is. I have the black version here sitting on top of the mod-defined Lyra. So without further ado, we're going to go down to the table, have a good look around this tank, throw a little build in it today, of course, and come back up top and I will give you my thoughts. Right, quick look around this packaging then. This is the front of it there. Here's the side, we've got a bit of a warning going on. Here's the back, we've got some writing going on there, social media, the QP Design in Canada and the website address there. Contents and all of the rest of it and what colour we have. So let's just flip it open. We've got a flip style box and we've got Fatality written up there. Got a little signature going on and a bit of a paint splatter. So inside we do have the QP Design authentication card all signed for you. I've got the serial number 5121. Right, inside this we've got a bag full of O-rings, a blue flathead screwdriver, Allen key. We got 4 hex style grub screws for you in there as well. You also get a little vape band with QP Designs written on it. Got a bubble tank, 5.5 millimeters the glass, and we've got 4 mil for the straight glass, and 25 millimeters in diameter. This particular tank is, there's nothing else under there. So we got the TPD insert in here at the moment, which brings it down to 2 mil capacity. So you can leave that in there if you want, but it really ruins the appearance of it. So we're going to take that out, but we'll do that in a minute. Quick look on the top first. We do have a glass 810 fitting drip tip. Really nice drip tip. This one is really good flavour you get from it. Look in the top cap, so we got the O-ring that goes around the top. Just get one off the Rebirth RTA, so there you can, just confirmation. Had no problems with any other drip tips fitting in this particular one. So just plug that in like so. Around the top, just go in a little bit further. We've got Fatality M25 engraved in there. No rough edges. A little bit of knurling around here. We've also got the off and we got on, so this is top fill and it's a bayonet fitting. So spin it one way like that. There you go. We've got the O-ring around the top, and there's your notches which correspond on the side there, isn't it? These flat bits around the side. Just try and get in a little bit further. Yeah, they work their way in there and it just goes around. But anyway, we've got 2 humongous kidney shaped ports there. There's the bore for the airflow. Don't fill down the centre but fill down the sides as ever. So just put your cap on and then just twiddle it around about half a turn. Works with this one. Right, more knurling around the bottom. We've got QP Designs engraved into the chimney. We'll take it all apart in a minute. Quick look on the bottom. Fatality M25 RTA. You can see this really nicely with the black one. QP there. We got the signature again and the serial number and a gold plated 510 pin with the peak insulator that does surround it. And yeah, a little bit of protrusion on there. It's not too bad actually, but always check before you use it on a hybrid mechanical device. You want that at least a millimetre really, but like I say, always check before you get yours. Anyway, we're going to take the bung out now because it's annoying me, so we just put that to one side. Quick look inside the chimney port there. There's the juice inlets on the side. Right, it did require a little bit of effort, as ever with these tanks, getting them apart again. Sometimes a bit of a nightmare, especially when you've been you've cleaned them and left them for a while. So that bung there, just throw that one away. A little bit fiddly, this one. So the glass doesn't actually stay in place. You just got to do it up until, just make sure it's held in position. Right, so that's what we look like with the bubble on. Right, adjustable airflow with this one, just like the original Fatality. We have got bottom airflow and like bottom side airflow. We'll have a look at the deck in a minute. But we have got stoppers for this particular one. So it does shut in position there. And you can independently adjust these. There you go. There's one and there's the other. And it keeps on wanting to come off. So let's just do that. We'll show you again a bit later on with it working properly. All right, one thing I do have to point out, when I first got this, this tank used to leak like a sieve, so I had to replace some O-rings. So I found some others that I had lying around, and it did sort out the leaking issue. But just make sure you've got your O-rings around the top and bottom for your glass there. And we've also got one around here. Now I had to, this is the culprit, this one, because I wasn't getting a proper seal. So I've replaced it with a slightly fatter one. So we got flathead screws with this one. Sure, the ones that came spare were actually hex style ones, but nice threads on here, as you can just see there. So we've got some nice size holes there for your build. But as you can see, we've got a bit of ultim going on in the middle there. So how many holes have we got with this one? I think it's 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 15 holes. So if you want the super airy vape, you can take this piece out. There you go, it just comes out just like that. So you can leave that fully open like that. Here's the airflow holes from the side then. Right, these ones here, actually, you just notice there. So this top airflow alters the airflow coming out of here. The bottom airflow is therefore this one at the bottom. But you can just mix and match and do what you want with it. But this is quite restricted with the actual insert in, but it does help deliver very good flavour because of that. So just plug that back in like that. You notice that the positive and negative are separated by a peak insulator, which you can just see around here. So here's the positive block, these are negative, and so you could do a single core, one in the middle, and just have one leg here, one there, or vice versa like that. Or you can just mount one on this side, one on the other side, and just pull them over into the middle to utilise that airflow. Here's where the cotton goes then, down the sides, and it's drawn in through in here. Right, before we got into the build, forgot to mention the juice flow control with this one. So you see there, fully shut off at the moment. So when you've got it on the mod, you can just spin it round and you can just open it up, and then it will just shut off on that side there. So you can just partially open it, depends how thick your juice is, how saturated you like it, and it will more or less shut off that way around, but it does leave a little bit of an opening. So yeah, that's how you do the juice flow, and then take it off the mod just like that. Today we are using some Coreology aliens here, which I got from Hip Hop Juice. Kindly sent them over to use in my reviews. So they're 3x28 by 36 with a 2.5mm inner diameter, 0.14 per quart. But I have actually manipulated them a bit. I've made them into a 3mm coil, and the camera isn't going to focus for me. It's just to go out a little bit. And I've slightly spaced them as well. And we have used the coily tool today as ever. What is going on with this camera? At 4.5mm. Awesome invention. Check it out on Facebook. There's a group over there as well, and also a website. You can buy them all over the world now. So you get yourself some nicely flush cut leg lengths, ideal for post list build decks. Right, so I usually put it in this position first. So before you fit it, make sure you got the juice flow shut off just like that. There you go. And then you can open up your juice flow now, just like that. And you are now ready to vape. Back up top, we got the Fatality M25. Right, what are my thoughts with this one? Right, I've had this one a good few weeks, at least a month, and when I first got it, I was having all sorts of problems. No matter how I built it, I put about 15 to 20 builds, different cotton, different length cottons and all of that, and it just kept pissing juice out of the airflow, and no matter what, even with the juice flow fully shut off, it was just saturating the deck. So I was sort of getting ready to throw this one in the bin, and I spoke to one of my subs and friends over on Facebook, and he suggested changing the O-rings over, which I duly did. Of course, I don't think you should have to do that when you've just purchased a £70 RTA. That should all work perfectly, but I did that. I looked through my O-ring collection, found some slightly fatter ones, because the problem was the one that's just around the base. So when this top piece screws on, it wasn't really creating the vacuum enough. But I tried another set of O-rings, put a couple on there, and I haven't had a leak since, so that has sorted it out. So the spares that come with it still look to be a little bit thin for me. So yeah, not the best O-rings with this particular RTA, which is a little bit disappointing, as this is a genuine authentic, which I did purchase from, where did I get this one? eSig1 in the UK. So yeah, first impressions, all of that, it wasn't that great. So I'm not sure what other reviewers have found, whether they had problems with vacuums and leaking out of this, but ever since I don't get a drop out of it. So there you go. It does pay to collect your O-rings, save your O-rings, because they could always come in handy later on. So as a result, the juice flow control on here is a little bit more resistance to it. The one I had before on it was really loose, but yeah, the slightly fatter O-ring I found, I can't remember what RTA it was from, but if you just look through your O-rings, get a 24 or 25mm one, and it should work fine. I think this was even a 24mm I put in there, but it was just slightly fatter, but it works perfectly. But we will talk about build quality and fit and finish, because overall it's built very well. It looks bloody really nice. The paintwork's held up very nice indeed. We got it in bubble tank mode at the moment, but I have been using it in straight glass for most of the time. But thought I'd leave it in bubble tank mode to see, it lasts longer than the juice does as well, just to see if there's any issues with the seals on it, and there's no issues at all. But yeah, lovely bit of engraving on the chimney. I like all of that. Top fill works very well on this. We got a lovely glass drip tip, which does give really good flavour. Just watch out if you're going to drop it, because you will crack the drip tip, no doubt. But yeah, the airflow control ring, it's not too bad actually, even with the glass piece on there. Depends what sort of mod you're using, because if you're using the Minikin 3S, it's a bit of a pain in the ass because of that lip that comes around. But using the mod-defined Lyra works very well. Nice bit of resistance, stays in place once you change it. Now I've got a little bit of moisture around this bottom here, because I've recently just filled it. Not saying this isn't this is leak proof by a long shot, because any bottom airflow RTA tends to give moisture around the airflow control. I'll just have a look on the base to see what that's looking like, but that is actually bone dry, which is good. But around the airflow control rings, you might find a little bit of moisture in there. But overall, build quality, fit and finish is very good, but the O-rings leave a lot to be desired. You might have to use a set of your own ones. Right, let's have a little toot then. We've got a 0.15 build, the one that we had down below. We got it at 75 watts with the airflow fully open, top and bottom. Here we go. Right, there's a little bit of restriction there because we have got the honeycomb little insert in there. So even with it fully open, this is no more than a, I would say no more than a 7 to 7.5 out of 10, with 10 being a super airy vape, 1 being a super restrictive vape. So I tend not to have to knock the airflow down, but of course, because we've got the bottom airflow and we've got that like bottom side airflow, you can play around with it to your heart's content. But just for the review, we'll put it to half on each around. A little bit fiddly with this bubble tank on, but there you go, we've got it half and half. Still leave it at 75 because it can handle a lot more. Still nice and smooth. And you can mess around with it to your heart's content, but it is smooth across the board. You can put it to a very restrictive vape if you like. Where is it? So we've just got a little bit of it showing there. Put the wattage down to about 60. Works very well, smooth across the board. And you can do a combination, like you can put the top airflow fully open, the bottom airflow just a little bit like that. Put the wattage up a little bit more, 75. It's very nice because with the 28mm version, I was finding I had the top airflow more or less fully open and the bottom airflow like I've got it in here, but this one's slightly different. For me, I think the best flavour and vape experience is with having it fully open, and we can crank that wattage up a little bit as well. Put it up to 90 watts. Make sure that juice flow's open, yeah. There's an indication of the vapour production. Really is a good cloud chucking beast, this one. Is a thirsty RTA though, it's going to plough through the juice, but really is an awesome draw. Like I say, I prefer having it fully open. Just put it to 85. Long, pleasurable, smooth vape you're getting from it. Quite noisy though, as you can hear there, but that doesn't really worry me with these high-powered vapes. But should we just see what more you can do? Put it up to 120. So it is a little bit restrictive though. A little bit too hot for me, but just to show you, it does keep up the wicking very nicely indeed. This one does. So overall, after that first experience I had where I put like 20 different builds in it trying to get it to stop pissing out juice, since I've replaced those O-rings, this is now probably my favourite dual coil RTA, and the flavour rating is a good 9.5 out of 10. Now, I've got other decent ones. We've got the Zeus Dual and the Glaz V2, and it's on pretty much of a par with them. I think it's a little bit better than the Zeus Dual, but that one is top airflow and doesn't leak at all. So, and it costs a lot less than the Fatality. But I do like the restrictive draw you get from this one, and the flavour really is top draw. It looks a little bit top heavy with the bubble tank on, so it probably looks a little bit better with the straight glass on. But I'm glad I've spent the money on this. I don't normally spend more than £30 on Natty. I thought I'd push the boat out and spend 60 this time. I am pleased with it, but I'm a little bit pissed off that the O-rings aren't the best in the world. So it has got a few little cons to it. The grub screws are really strong on here though, but juice flow works very well indeed. If you've got, I've got 80-20 in here just before we wrap this one up. If you're using a 70-30 or a 60-40, you might want to just restrict the juice flow down so it's only showing part of it. But with an 80-20, having it fully open works a treat with this one. But overall, a huge thumbs up from me for this one. I really do like the look of it. I enjoy vaping on it, and the flavour is just awesome. So if you enjoyed the review, guys, please give the video a little thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to, and hit the little bell notification. You'll be notified of all my latest videos. Got my own website too, you can check that one out. It's mfvape.co.uk, and you can find me on all the social media. The links are below the video as ever, and it'll also be shown over on VapeTube. You might already be watching it on VapeTube, so hello if you are, and drop us a little sub if you haven't done already. Cheers guys. So until next time guys, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Okay, cheers.